So as we say, innovation is the modern trend, but there is a tradition also going hand by hand. So if innovation is the tree, tradition is the root. How have you created the balance with the traditional values of the organization and modern financial strategies? Are you facing difficulty in this?
So on a lighter note, many times we recall and say to ourselves, we are just 120 years old. So
Great.
yes, of course there are challenges. There are challenges when new thought process, new business ideas, diversification plans comes in at the same point of time when we are having a traditional methodology of doing the businesses, we are having the generational relationship to be maintained. So we have created a thought process where we do the integration, not the replacement. And this is our benchmark in taking over and thinking any idea ahead. That let's not replace the value system, let's not replace the relationship, but with the help of technology, with the help of new business idea, do the integration and then create the value system. And also make sure that all the parties involved in the business are getting benefit of that. Whether it is our traditional old dealer distributor network or our recent latest automobile and petroleum companies kind of customer profile.
Right. So a very wonderful line, integration instead of replacement. Wonderful. Because if you are integrating and if you integrate it well at one point of time, you will find that it is already replaced, but the resistance to change has also been omitted. So that's a wonderful thing. Even in the textile industry, there is a foreign exchange exposure in form of raw material also, and I think you also export. So foreign exchange fluctuation is also there and the global competition. There are also some cross-border tensions that also affects your industry. So how do you keep a control on financial risk and what are some of the preventive measures which you have taken? If you can give any practical example, that will enlighten us.
Sure. So we have divided our risk profile into two categories. One is the risk where simple products can be applied. Like if it is a foreign currency risk, can we do the hedging? If it is a commodity related risk, can we do the forward commodity contracts? So there are standard products are available and we apply them. Now there are certain amount of risk which is related to the business. Now can we do something in our business model to take care of those risks? Can we create a natural hedging by way of either forward integration or backward integration or by way of diversification? For example, we were a textile fabric manufacturer and the supplier in the market. When we realized that yes, there will always be seasonality in the fabric market, can we get into the uniform solution piece where there will be a standard demand? In case of a school uniform, again, there is a seasonality. So can we move towards the functional and the corporate uniform, which can take care of our volatility? So we try to inbuild in each and every our business line, we try to inbuild a natural hedging. Of course, there will always be some element of risk which will remain open, for which management and the finance team needs to be very attentive. They need to place the risk metrics in the place. They need to have the proper insurance products, credit products in place. And with the insurance and the credit products maturing in the market, it is very much possible to cover the country level risk. Again, geopolitical risk, these factors are difficult to control. However, management should look towards diversification, not putting all the eggs in one basket, ultimately.
Did unrest in Bangladesh affected you?
Little bit, yes, it did affected us. However, at the same time, our team was our team was able to move the operations from Bangladesh to the Middle East market, which helped us. So again, having right people on the ground, having the good policies, good processes helps.
Smita, as a senior women leader in finance, what are some of the key lessons you have learned and challenges you have faced? And what advice would you give to the aspiring women professional in finance?
So this is something which I get asked many times. So see, I have been blessed in a way. I have got a very good mentors throughout my journey in the corporate world. However, I feel and I see that the biggest challenge is not getting the right mentor. For most of the other women colleagues as well as other male colleague, getting the right mentor, right guidance is very critical. At the same time, understanding the skill set of our own is very crucial. Instead of running behind the unacquired skill set, strengthen our own skill set. Being a woman, we come with some other superpowers like very high level of emotional intelligence. Every woman is having higher emotional intelligence than a male. Use that to your advantage. Uh, Use other skill set to your advantage, and then take the guidance and mentorship. And also, in your journey, also try to provide mentorship to other women in your circle, in your family, in your organization.
Great. What are some of the red flags in the companies which indicate that the company is losing its values, cite its core values?
So somewhere in 2004, company went into the BIFR, and 2011 came out of it. Again, company restarted its business from the scratch, a 120-year-old company. So see, it is very crucial, and I will agree with Sanjay ji that having good statutory auditor, having good internal audit partner, management auditor is crucial. At the same time, having the ITGC controls, GRC controls, proper IFC mechanism in the system, so that those early signs doesn't become a red flag is important. So from the finance perspective, that's where we'll always concentrate and try to create a system which can identify that where exactly the things can go wrong at the next step.
That's so nice. Now, as we are talking about the profitability, I have some question. So when we talk about the profit, what will be the metric on the basis of which you will judge the profit, you will analyze the profit? So can please display the question. Because ultimately, even if we are to drive the value, profit has to be there. We can't ignore the profit totally and think of creating the value. Sooner or later, we have to think of the profit. So as per you, Ms. Smita, what should be the parameter?
So in our company, so now 90% of our turnover is coming from the asset-light business model. In this particular business model, EPS is the most critical parameter. However, when I look at only the manufacturing, there the EBITDA becomes critical, because at the same time I am investing money in procuring new fixed asset for the future growth.
Right. How have you integrated technology and automation into your business?
So I will just give one example. So we do the supply of uniform to petroleum companies. So till 2 years back, when we were doing the supply, if there's one particular petroleum company, then more than 15,000 petrol pump owners are buying the uniform. And then doing the reconciliation with each and every one of them used to be a huge task for the team. So now we have brought them to a platform where they can, on a click of a button, by making the payment on spot, they can buy the uniform for their employees working at the petrol pump. Even they can order one single uniform. Yes, of course. Earlier a scenario, we used to give them the bulk supply. Now we have given them the flexibility of even ordering one uniform. But at the same time, the entire reconciliation has been taken away from the system, the challenge of reconciliation. So again, the use of technology in the business, we cannot shy away from that. It has become a very integral part of the business. In fact, even in the decision making, today when we wake up in the morning, the first thing we say is we do not only see the sales report, we are looking at the entire P&L of the last day. So the amount of data which is available on the click of a button is driving the decision making. So it is playing a very crucial role in our function in the company.
So now Ms. Smita Jhawar, rank these challenges in the textile sector: rising raw material costs, labor shortages, environmental regulations, and global competition.
Labor shortage.
Labor shortage. How is Mafatlal Industries aligning with the government's vision to expand its India textile sector to 9 lakh crore by 2030?
So actually it is very crucial factor for us, because in our case, 80% of our supply goes through the B2G channel. So for us, the government spending as well as budget is crucial. and ultimately we are serving to the bottom of the pyramid. That's what our business is.
A difficult one for you, Smita. If you could design a signature fabric, what would you name it?
Mafatlal.
What's more rewarding, financial growth or team development?
Team development.
Great, thanks.